What is going on, guys? Marvel Buff Nerd here with a quick little take review on Peacemaker, my new favorite TV show to watch at this time. It's on HBO Max, so if you don't have HBO Max right now, or by now I should say, I advise you get it. It's worth I think it's $14.99 a month, unless you can score it for some kind of like a promo deal. Very much worth it. This is not an ad or a plug or anything like that. They have a great catalog of stuff, films, and shows to watch. Peacemaker, though, it's awesome. It's written, directed, a creation from James Gunn. It really continues Peacemaker's story right after the Suicide Squad movie that premiered last year with Idris Elba and everybody. Amazing movie. Didn't do real great box office wise and whatnot, due to marketing and the whole dual release. Same day on HBO Max as in theaters, really killed that film as well. And the stigma of the first one from 2016 that was a steaming pile of shit. But anyway, this picks up right after that, literally like previously on the Suicide Squad. It's John Cena narrating, and then you get up to the point of where he actually ends up, slight spoilers here, he ends up getting out of prison, regardless of killing Rick Flag. And there's actually, they actually touch on that, the fact, like, the behind the scenes of that, and what led him to killing Rick Flag and what the exact orders were from Waller and everything, which they touch on that, pick up on that, which I like a lot. He ends up serving 4 years of his 30-year sentence, and basically they break him out, which the trailers from the show, if you've seen the trailers, you probably, they get him out of prison, don't break him out. The government releases him from prison to do contract killing for them because there's a new problem in the show. And that's what the plot of this show is. It's the new thing that needs to be taken care of in this universe. And without going into too much spoilers, it's called The Butterfly Project, and I'll let you just watch the show and go from there and see how crazy it gets. But depending on how the show wraps up in the next 4 or 5 episodes, this could be a great springboard for a larger problem to deal with in the overall DC universe going forward, I think. Unless they wrap it up with this show, which could be self-contained. Doesn't maybe seem like that after just finishing episode 3 last night. Seems like this is going to be a bigger problem than Peacemaker and his team can handle. But I think this, if it does go forward and this isn't just solved with Peacemaker, this gives us a lot of really good content for crossovers and DC events going forward, and world building for the DC universe. World building, another thing this show does really great without hammering you over the head that this takes place in the DCEU. They just drop names and stuff like, oh, I'd rather hang out with Harley Quinn than your crazy racist ass, talking about Peacemaker. And I think, who else did they bring up? I can't remember. I think there's a reference to Batman and Superman. I can't 100% remember, but there are references to other characters without them beating you over the head with it, which is nice. The opening credits are amazing. They're really addicting. This show does what James Gunn really does. He always brings in obscure, like 80s rock hits that you may have forgot about or may have never even really heard, and also the hits that you will remember. But I'll be damned if the obscure music that I can't remember much or may not have really heard much isn't what always sticks with me. Like, Do You Really Want to Taste It by Wigwam? Like, I don't know if I've ever really heard that song in the past. If I did, I don't remember it, and I'm a huge classic rock guy. And now, ever since the opening credits, I've been just playing that song on repeat because it's so fun. John Cena really kills this role. He has done so good in the transformation of coming from a WWE superstar and becoming just a world-known actor. Regardless of how you feel about him, I guess, I think he really plays amazingly in this role, and I think this is his best acting role yet as Peacemaker, and he really gets to flex his chops here, and this show really gets to play out its comedic scenes just the way James Gunn wants them. So if you're a fan of James Gunn humor, where it's a joke that stays overplayed and then that turns into the joke, I love shit like that. And then there's a scene where Peacemaker has to tactically descend an apartment building from like the 4th or 5th floor. I was dying, rolling, laughing the entire time. Like, good belly laughs from this show. And then when the action kicks in, had a little bit of scratch in my back there. When the action kicks in, it's really good. But it's not just action, it's not just drama, it's not just jokes. It's all sprinkled in and balanced really well together, and I like it a lot. And when, like I said, the action scenes are hard-hitting and kick-ass. And we know that James Gunn knows how to do action and superhero stuff very well. I mean, he's proved that time and time again, and he comes in and here he's proving it with the show about a guy with a toilet seat on his head. is currently my favorite show on television, if you want to call it that. It's a streaming service, but to me it's a TV show. And this has given me what I'm missing from The Boys, which is like, and Invincible. The Boys and Invincible are so high on my like current relevant shows, and The Mandalorian, and I'm missing all of those right now. This has given me a good feeling for a void. Last thing, I said this was going to be quick. Marvel versus DC. I'm not trying to fuel a fandom, but just DC has a leg up, in my opinion, as an adult that enjoys these things being more adult rated and relatable, and you know, the jokes are a little bit more hard R. Not that everything has to be hard R and have a bunch of F words in it and blood and guts. I'm not saying that. But the fact that you are dealing with people that are superpowered against regular people, and the circumstances call for it to turn into, you know, bloody things, and for there to be gore and dismemberment and broken bones and cuts and stuff like that. And the way that you watch everything on Disney Plus that Marvel produces, and I'm a huge Marvel fanboy, as I've said time and time again. Look at my room. Everything is just so clean. It's just so fucking clean, and it drives me nuts, because then you get stuff like The Boys and Invincible and all these DC projects, and like when a superpowered individual punches somebody that is not superpowered or doesn't have extra durability, like, you'll see teeth flying out and blood going everywhere and splattering on the ground. Like, maybe it's too visceral for you, but it's what would happen. You know what I mean? We're seeing these things brought to life, so it's what would happen. It's like playing a racing game from like the PS1, PS2 era and crashing a car going 150 miles an hour into a wall, and it just bouncing off, and you're just still going, and not even a headlight is cracked. It has that effect where, like, just slightly pulls you out of it and breaks the immersion, if that makes sense. I hope that was a good analogy. So I really enjoy the DC shows a little bit more over the Marvel shows that I really love, sometimes just because of that extra edge DC can have, man. Nothing against the MCU or the Marvel. I just wish it didn't have to be so damn pretty and pristine and PG-13 kid-friendly all the time for every property, with barely any exceptions. Anyway, guys, I was hoping I'd be on camera for like 3 minutes talking about Peacemaker. It's now been 8 minutes. I said this was going to be a quick take. It has not been. Anyway, I haven't been on camera for you guys in a while. Hope you like this. If you're enjoying Peacemaker, please let me know in the comment section down below. Like the video, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. I really appreciate it. And are you looking forward to the next episode of Peacemaker?